those that have known me for, I've done the study. I've flown the flag. um, you know, I'm still a Moor at heart. I just don't, you know, shout out from the mountaintop like I used to. They were on Vice. Now, once again, these are dirty Moors. Okay, these are dishonorable Moors. Like, Moors don't do this bullshit using squatter laws to take over property, abandoned property, and shit like that. So this is sad. Where's it at? Let me get to it. Okay, here we go. Vice News. Once again, these are dirty Moors. These are not the Moors that I associate with, that I have fellowship with, that I broke bread with, that I commune with, that I talk with. You know what I'm saying? So this is not my people. These are motherfuckers that know the law and scamming, basically. But let's get to it.
The thing I like about this neighborhood is every single house seems to have its own little bit of charm. Just being a single woman trying to compete with a lot of these couples, I lost out on about 13.
Let me just say this. There's no such thing as a sovereign citizen. It's an oxymoron. They don't, even legally, they don't mesh. You're either sovereign or you're a citizen. Okay, so for those that are in the sovereign movement, you notice how they kind of conflate the two and purposely defame it and misclassify it on purpose. So even regular people now, they think sovereign citizen, they think, oh, you're the guy that likes to drive around with no tags on your license plate. Oh, you don't think you're too good for a license plate? Oh, you like to do right to travel? Shout out to my man A6 Grind Time, right? They put you in that box. Oh, you're one of those right to travel type of people. I'm not driving, I'm traveling from point A to point B. All right. Once again, they are aware of these movements taking place on grassroots levels. And when they hear wind of it, they got to defame it, deface it, devalue it, misname it, misclassify it on purpose. So that the regular folk be like, oh, you're one of those people. They're not. It's not even close. But let's continue.
Houses before I came across this one. When I walked in the door, I was like, this is my house. So whatever I can do to get it, I'm going to get it. You guys, I'm not even kidding. This is a literal SWAT team that was called.
Janetta Little was finalizing construction plans on her first home when a stranger changed the locks and told her that the house she bought was actually his.
They call themselves Moors. They basically say that they have ancestral rights due to a lot of treaties and tribunal law.
Okay, they're referring to the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. I forget what year it was, 1400s or something. That's what they were always referring to. Those are dirty Moors. Okay, dirty Moors are the same people that gave that young lady bad intel that caused her to get into a shootout with cops in front of her son. Those are dirty Moors. Dirty Moors, they don't operate like this. Okay, they just don't. You gotta know there's extremists in every in every movement, right? Jihadists, Christians, Muslims, whatever. There's always extremists. These are the extremists.
That they have rights to the land here.
So you buy this place, you have this amazing vision for it, and all of a sudden you get a letter?
Yes. I got 2 letters, actually. The first one I got from Jaleel Hugh L. There were like seals and fingerprints and signatures basically saying that my home was on someone else's ancestral lands. Well, I ignored it the first time, and they sent me another letter saying because I didn't respond, now we own this house. The third time was basically when all shit hit the fan. So they sawed off the locks, put their own locks on. He's now occupying the home.
How do they get him out of the house?
Oh, they busted the door down and they basically dragged him out. And it was really scary. Like, I applied for a gun license. I got pepper spray, knives.
Wow.
It was really, really traumatizing.
Police officers still reeling from a deadly attack. 3 officers were shot and killed.
The manhunt is on for this man, a career criminal considered very armed and very dangerous.
In recent years, isolated and random incidents of violence, fraud, burglary, and squatting committed by Moorish extremists have put Moors on the radar of law.
Okay, I'm glad they said Moorish extremists. Extremists. Okay? This is not what Noble Drew Ali sacrificed his life and livelihood for. Okay? This is not what this is not us, them, we, whatever. We don't do this dumb shit, okay?
enforcement nationwide.
A Newark home taken over by an alleged extremist group that not only changed the locks, but actually claimed ownership over the property.
The man who occupied Shanetta's home was never charged and still maintains the land belongs to him. We did our best to speak with him, but he demanded to be paid. So that interview didn't happen. But we did find a video he posted about the incident online.
This is actually a claim on not the house itself, it's actually the land. It just so happened that the house is on top of it. If she did not come up so belligerent and so angry and so aggressive, we would have sat her down, explained to her what's going on.
So what is going on? Historically, Moors are renowned as an incredibly powerful and influential group of North Africans. They once controlled an empire that included modern-day West Sahara, Algeria, Tunisia, and Spain. But many Moors believe that the Moroccan Empire expanded all the way to the Americas, making all black people ultimately indigenous to an America that predates the United States altogether.
Okay, I don't know why this narrative is still stuck in people's head. Like, people didn't travel. Even after Pangea, people traveled. Everybody traveled. I don't understand why it's not possible that Moroccan Moors didn't come to the U.S. and lay claim and establish residence, cities, you know what I'm saying, a way of life in America. Like, it's so just, like, y'all really don't think motherfuckers just stayed in their own place. It's a silly argument at this point to me. Because, you know, we'll go through the comments. Because the first thing they'll say, they keep saying in the comments, well, Moroccans, blah, 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 blah. They never went to America. When they clearly went to America and established strongholds in America. Like, that's not for a debate. It's not for a debate. Okay? But let's continue.
Together. For most of the 1 million Moors across America today, that's just their origin story. Many attend one of the official Moorish science temples and peacefully study their own Quran. But for others, it's more than just a religion. Their indigenous identity means land rights, citizenship, and living under U.S. laws are all called into question.
Why is that not the first thing you want to do? Realign yourself with your ancestry. Realign yourself with the great God Allah. Realign yourself with your birthright and your culture.
So I want you to write this down so that for anyone who thinks they can challenge this information.
Hey, Taj Tariq Bey. Shout out to Taj Tariq Bey. Like, we all used to watch this man coming up. Like, ain't nobody that claimed to be more don't know who this man is. You know what I'm saying? This is where we all used to get our shit from. Like, he was it. Let's continue.
It's available, and all scholars know this stuff.
Look up and be more enlightened to what's out there.
There are many independent, nonviolent Moorish organizations across the U.S. who believe they were colonized and that state laws shouldn't apply to them. One of them is the Rise of the Moors.
Disruptive and combative. They're all members of the Rise of the Moors, an anti-government sovereign citizen movement.
These were the brothers that had the firearms, had to stand off with the cops, and they are currently fighting these charges. They're gonna hang these dudes. They're not gonna beat that case. They're still fighting that case, but they're gonna hang these kids. You know. But let's continue.
This is a group that does not believe it needs to follow the law.
Jaleesa and her husband are founding members of this Rhode Island-based group who believe that the state doesn't have jurisdiction over them.
You all have been called sovereign. You all have been called anti-government. Do any of those terms ring true?
No. I think people like a good villain, and I think that it's really a lack of understanding of what we're doing.
What are the charges? What am I being arrested for?
Last summer, 11 members, including Jaleesa's husband Jamal, were arrested while en route to a militia training and camping trip. None of them could produce government driver's licenses or gun permits for their weapons.
Help me understand you all's relationship with the United States of America.
We, Moors, don't have anything to do with the United States government because we don't belong. We belong to the Moroccan Empire. We want to have our own separate nation, our own separate government, hospitals, towns, schools, daycares, our own police. You know, we're getting our rights violated left and right.
Okay, the simplest way I can explain this to y'all is diplomatic immunity. That's the most simplest way I can break this down for everybody. It's like, what? What is it? Diplomatic immunity. Foreign nationals, when they travel to other countries, they're afforded certain rights and privileges, unlike the natives or the citizens. Right? Remember, the description, was it Lethal Weapon 2? Lethal Weapon 3. The South Africans. Remember the South Africans came to LA, Riggs and Murtaugh, and the one head South African, right? And you know, that's when you first heard the word Kaffa. And they're like, what do you call you? And what? So there's a scene in the movie where they pulled them over because they're just harassing him at this point. And he said, you can't do anything to me. I have diplomatic immunity. And he pulls off and drives in the middle of traffic, causing an accident. And Riggs and Murtaugh go to their captain, like, you can't touch him. He has diplomatic immunity. He's a foreign national. This is the best way I can describe it. This is how they see themselves and the steps they take to put the government on notice. Say, hey, I'm putting you on notice. This is how we're going to operate outside of your jurisdiction. That's the best way I can describe it for y'all. Let's continue.
The streets constantly. Black History Month. What do they show on TV or in school? It's always so-called black people getting the hose, getting mauled by dogs. It's nothing uplifting at all. It's never look at what you were, look at what you can be. It's always like this is what you are and this is what you're always going to continue to be. It's a form of propaganda and brainwashing.
According to Jaleesa, the perfect storm of civil unrest, police violence, and systemic racism are attracting new members. People who are sick and tired of the status quo and frustrated at the treatment of people who look like them.
What is it exactly that you all want?
Freedom. To not be oppressed. To not have life so hard to live. To just come together and establish our actual own government and our own everything.
Until then, Moors and non-Moors live side by side, sharing taxpayer-funded public resources. But in an effort to increase economic mobility and establish precedent for autonomy, Moorish nationals are leveraging lawsuits to further their agenda. These goals are enough to classify them as anti-government by the likes of the Anti-Defamation League and law enforcement.
This stuff represents a couple of years of just collecting and gathering, and you can be knee-deep in paperwork quickly.
Called paper terrorism by those on the receiving end, Moorish nationals overwhelm court systems with retaliatory lawsuits, liens, and filings, all creating a paperwork hellscape for government officials.
Okay, so the lien thing is important. So basically, how when there's a judgment against you, they put a lien on your straw man, right? So how to kind of maneuver around that is you put a lien on your straw man. You're the first one in line. So anybody that comes after you asking to put a lien on your straw man, you're like, they have to wait until you get your recompense. You understand? That's why the whole thing in the social security number, it's all in, everything is in caps. When you go to court, your name's in all caps. When you go to court, you say, hey, they ask for your name. On the third time they ask for your name, say, hey, I'm here as a representative of Super Sly. And they're like gonna call you to the bench. And like, yeah, I'm here acting as an advisor, as a trustee for the estate for Super Sly. I'm not Super Sly. And you get this back and forth shit with the judge. And sometimes he may clear out the courtroom for you, and it's just you, him, and the sheriff, and y'all have it out. Or he may get everybody cases done first, and you be the last one, and it just be you, him, the sheriff, and the clerk, right? Okay. And then, one of the first things you learn, the most powerful person in court is the clerk, not the judge. Because the clerk is going to make sure you got everything. Everything goes to him first. Okay. They're the first line of defense for the court. Everything must go through the clerk. If the clerk ain't got it, it doesn't exist. Okay. Any paperwork you're going to file against the city, county, state, whatever, has to go through the clerk first. The clerk is the most important person in the courtroom, not the judge. That's another lesson for another day. Let's continue.
Most of whom have no idea what they're reading.
Lieutenant Flowers, yeah? Alzo.
Good to see you. Nice to meet you.
Thanks for having me.
Corey Flowers has been a cop for more than 22 years and has spent time infiltrating extremist groups and training government employees on how to handle them.
All right, good morning, ladies and gents. Good morning. Moorish sovereigns are very heavy into all manner of fraud. A lot of times very common.
He called them Moorish sovereign. It's not even the same. It's not even this is how they see how they, and they teaching these white kids like this is how you brainwash people with half truths. Like we all understand Washita and Will Blast. Where you at? Where you at? Because I haven't talked about this shit in years, man, and I ain't been studying my lessons. It became too much for me. I had to back off. You know what I'm saying? So you go down south, they'll tell you all day. Chicago is probably the biggest headquarters for the Moors. Everybody knows that's Noble Drew Ali country. You see motherfuckers with the feds still in Chicago. So yeah. Okay. See, looking, it's not the nation of the nerds. It would be M-U-U-R-S. See how they purposely twist this shit? This is how victors rewrite history. You're watching history being rewritten right in front of your eyes. It's not the nation of nerds. It's M-U-U-R-S. Right? And there's
complex.
There's different nations. But let's continue.
Sovereigns are very heavy into all manner of fraud. A lot of times very complex fraud, like mortgage schemes, postage stamp fraud, credit card fraud, wire fraud, a lot of bank fraud. Paper terrorism, you guys heard of this? You can use physical legal documentation, whether it's putting a lien against somebody else's property, filing a lawsuit against somebody else, in order to intimidate them, particularly in their professional capacity, which...
We live in a litigious society. Everybody is a paper terrorist. Why are you going to put that off on a certain subsect of people? Because they've learned the hustle. And when you do the hustle back to the government, they don't like that. Just saying.
Definitely creates stress, right? The idea that some folks you guys deal with could impact your livelihood, that's an intimidating thing.
Flowers himself has been on the receiving end of this tactic, which most often targets law enforcement and court personnel.
I'm wondering if you can...
So for everybody that be like, oh yeah, go put a lien on so you deal with some bad cops, right? Because how else you gonna get recompense with these cops? Oh, go put a lien on the cop that arrested you or that violated your rights. You understand? When they tell people, yeah, well, you need to sue the cops. This is how you do it. Oh, you need to sue the bond and sue the insurance bond, sue the insurance company that bonds the cops' pension. That's what, okay, so when they do it, then it's a problem. So when you complain and say, well, here's the remedy, and you have a bunch of people that say, okay, we're going to use this remedy and get recompense. Then all of a sudden you turn into a paper terrorist. You see how that works? So yeah, you could place liens and bonds. You could sue the cops in civil court and hit them with the paper shit all day long. But what's gonna happen? The police union is gonna be like, you can't do this. You can't do that. But let's continue.
Walk me through what this is.
Yes, this is a lawsuit against 2 former police chiefs, a couple mayors, me, and this fella's opinion. These are all the people that he believes wronged him legally. So this is a lawsuit for $4 billion or
$4 billion
with a B. Yeah.
Have you seen an increase in the number of people claiming to be sovereign?
Yeah, there's definitely been an increase. Anytime you have an election where power changes, and especially if the party changes, you have effectively half of the country that gets into a panic to varying degrees. Panic like that will often drive folks to these movements.
What threat do these folks pose?
When you have a subgroup that just believes the rules don't apply to them at all, like that creates chaos.
There are now almost 3 million messages to the government to recognize Moors as a federally autonomous body of Indigenous Americans. But that's not what most Moors want. And distinguishing themselves from that ideology has been a priority for the original Moorish Science Temple of America.
There are Moors across the country. We know of groups in Rhode Island and New Jersey, but neither of those groups are part of the Moorish Science Temple of America, which are like the OG Moorish Americans. We came here to their headquarters to speak to the Supreme Grand Sheik to see if he thinks these splinter groups are legit and if their practices are in line with their Moorish teachings.
The Moorish
should be interesting. This is my first time watching this with y'all. So let's continue.
Science Temple of America was founded in 1913 by Noble Drew Ali, who taught that all black people were stripped of their national identity and Islamic faith through racist oppression. At its peak in the 1920s, it boasted upwards to 35,000 members who aspired to uplift a fallen humanity. We've come to Sunday school to learn from the 8th generation successor of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the Supreme Grand Sheik.
Welcome to today's Sunday School. I'm going to ask some questions first. Is a man white? Is a man black? Man is not a color, period. Nationality was, is, and will always be what?
Order of the day.
The order of the day.
Yeah!
What are the principles that the Moorish Science Temple of America stand for?
So there's love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. However, we do have fundamental principles, and one of them is obedience to law. We're not encouraging members or anyone else to be involved in anything unlawful and disgraceful.
When the public sees Moors, it seems like they just lump you all into one group.
That's true.
But there are groups of Moors that don't comport themselves in the way that you all do. How do you reconcile that?
They're robbers and schemers. Moorish Americans don't do those kind of things, and it's written in our laws. We don't take people's property, and we're not anti-American. This is not an Afrocentric organization. And for those who try to make it that way, they will pay the price.
As the Moorish Science Temple of America, do you feel any sense of obligation to check those fringe groups?
Oh yeah, we check them all the time. All the time.
What does that look like?
It looks like you being caught with your hand in a cookie jar. And we see you with your hand in a cookie jar. And you still lie that that's not your hand. But they don't have to be told that they're wrong as much as the law is telling them that they're wrong. Because whether you have affairs on or not, if you're breaking the law, you're breaking the law. And you're gonna get yours.
me catch up on these comments. Let me catch up on these comments. That shit brought back memories like I'm back in school and shit. Yeah, buddy. All right. That's right. They sure did. Hey, matter of fact, I remember when shout out to Asir because he had asked me to get Noble Drew Ali's death certificate. They don't give it out anymore. You know, you can usually go to wherever county and get a death certificate. They don't give his out anymore. I had to lie and then bribe the lady and say I was a grandnephew of his to get that copy. You cannot go get Noble Drew Ali's death certificate. They do not get that shit out anymore. Let's continue.
All rise, please.
Your Honor, the next matter before the court is Control versus Jamal Ladner, docket 21361. Bring him in.
Jamal has been incarcerated since last summer's roadside incident. If convicted on all 11 indictments, mostly weapons charges, he could be locked up for decades. Jaleesa continues to attend each of Jamal's hearings. We were able to speak to him through a recorded line after his most recent pretrial hearing, where he remained steadfast in his mission.
This is a collect call from an incarcerated individual at the Middlesex County Billerica House of Corrections.
Hello? Hey, Jamal, how you doing?
I'm all right, how are you?
I'm good. What is the ultimate goal of the rise of the Moors?
What's next is to continue to try to do my best to educate my people as to what's going on and possible remedies for a lot of these problems. We're essentially victims of genocide. And it's throughout the legal system of the United States, which makes it a crime against humanity. It affects every aspect of our lives. It affects our education. It affects our ability to do business. It affects our quality of life. I can't think of anything more important than trying to change that.
I hate that it was so short, but wow. Yeah. All right, that's it for me. I just wanted to go over that with y'all. This other shit with the sage, and what I'm going to do is put this to Patreon and just chop this part up and just make it its own video, just to be on the safe side and not offend anybody with my commentary as far as Sage and Ian Connor and stuff like that. So that's what I'm gonna do as soon as I get off of it out of here. But hopefully everybody got some out of this. Once again, even lead attorney, I would hear him say the term sovereign citizen. Now he knows good and goddamn well as a fake ass esquire, a barrister agent. There's no such thing as a sovereign citizen, but they expect you to not know that. And once you start raising awareness to people, then you become a threat. You become a problematic. But once again, those are dirty Moors doing all that extra shit. But when you do learn how to, hit people with paperwork, you become a problem. The moment you put the government on notice, you let them know, okay, this is what my plan is. I'm giving y'all a heads up what I'm about to do. So it can either work for or against you. So, with that being said, I'm gonna get out of here. It's late. So Taharka Bay, hey man, listen, nobody that nigga. Listen, it's two bays I don't fuck with. Taharka and Sabir. I told my Sabir Bay story. I don't fuck with him. This nigga, oh my fucking God. He's a dirty Moor in my eyes. Taharka and Sabir, if you ask me, are dirty Moors in my eyes. I wouldn't fuck with them for nothing. And I met Sabir, that nigga there, man. Okay, so this was like, what year was this? Hey, wait, let me hold on, let me call. Hold up, let me make sure. What you doing? Yeah, that's a lie. Hey, remember that nigga Sabir I used to fuck with? What year was that? 2010, 2011. That's when we had the...
we were over there.
Okay. All right, thanks. All right. 2010, 2011. 2010, 20. I don't even know how I met this dude. I don't even remember how I met the dude. Oh, I remember. It was Tariq Nasheed's. What's the series he puts out? What is the name of that series he puts out, y'all? Oh, I remember how I met him now. Okay, here we go. What's the See. I'm gonna go there tonight. What's the name of that damn series? Hidden Colors. It's either Hidden Colors 2 or 3 that he's in. I had reached out to Tariq because he was asking, who should I add or bring on for the next Hidden Colors series? I said, look, there's 2 guys I think you should add. I said Asir and Sabir. Now I knew Asir pretty much. He was thorough. I only knew of Sabir, but this is me in my heavy Moorish stage. I'm like, listen, I'm more to the death. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I had the flag and shit. Like, I was into it heavily. So I emailed Tariq. I said, you should put either Asir or Sabir in the next Hidden Color series, right? So he ended up using Sabir, but what Sabir dumbass did afterwards, he ends up bootlegging Tariq's Hidden Color series that he's in. Tariq finds out. There's this back and forth between Tariq and Sabir. I even apologized to Tariq for like, man, I'm sorry I even introduced you to him. Like, I felt so fucking bad behind that shit. Which is why I don't think he will never add. He never added Asir because I think he pretty much equates them all as the same. Anywho, somehow he came out to California. And for those if you think I'm capping, so Sabir has like a gunshot wound on his left leg or right leg. Okay, Sabir has a very ghastly old gunshot wound on his leg. I'm not sure if it's the right or left leg. If you know Sabir, you know I'm not capping, right? And he always finds a way to tell his war stories about how he got shot with the shotgun in the leg. You know I'm not capping now. Now I'm telling the truth, right? And so somehow we ended up somewhere in LA. It was the first time I had fish tacos. That's a dumb food. That was the first time having fish tacos. I don't even remember where the fuck this place was. It was in LA, in the hood. Fish tacos. Met up with a bunch of other Moors. Met this older woman. I will not say her name. She was older back then. So Sabir was trying to fuck on the older woman. And I had drove him to her house. It didn't work out. Then he was staying in hotels. And I'm not gonna get to we'll leave that part for later. But then I'm taking him to all these places and shit. It just felt like I'm on some chauffeur shit. And then we went to the studio. A.A. Rashid was there. Now this is how you know I'm telling the truth. A.A. Rashid and Asir were beefing at the time. I've told this story before, but for those that are new here, we pull up to the studio. Sabir, he already went in, and like I said, the Asir versus A.A. Rashid beef was pretty bad. I tell Asir, I said, look, this nigga's at the studio right now. What you want me to do? Once again, I'm a crash test dummy for this Moorish shit. I'm like, yo, man, I'm right here. What you want me to do? Asir's like, nah, that's cool. Asir's like, nah, it's cool. Don't do anything. Hey, A.A. Rashid had no idea. I was gonna bust his head in the fucking studio. He never had a clue. Went to the studio, met the dude, met all the guys. And then it just, and I'm like, okay, so are you living in California now? He was fucking with some bitch, right? Do I want to say one of his baby moms? I don't know. I could be wrong. There's some chick that he knew that brought him to California for whatever reason. And then I'm just like, I'm not liking the vibe and shit. Cause now, we go out to eat. Now you like, well, I don't eat that. I'm like, nigga, you fucking with my diet now. Like, I'm gonna eat what the fuck I want to eat. Whatever. And I'm paying for his meals and shit. It just got weird, man. And I think after a week. Like he met the wife and shit, and what did he crash it? Wait. Oh, let me make sure. Let me call back to make sure again. Oh, let me make sure because I don't want to. Okay, wait. I don't want to tell no stories. Oh. Wait. Okay. Hold up. Mobile network not available. What the fuck? Is T-Mobile down? What is this? Never mind. Anywho, I think he did crash at the crib a couple nights. I'm sure he did. I know he did. Anywho, we go back to LA. Mind you, this is like a 2-hour drive. So like every day, I'm driving him from the Central Valley to fucking LA. Run around, do whatever the fuck he's doing, whatever the case may be. So at some point, I got so fed up with this dude. I can't do fish tacos, bruh. I can't. You better than me, man. That shit makes no sense. I can't. Okay, so then I got so fed up with Sabir, we went back to the place again, and he had all his luggage in my trunk. And he went inside. I said, you know what? Fuck this shit. I popped my trunk, and I took all his luggage out, and I put that shit on the sidewalk, and I drove my motherfucking ass back home. 2 hours. True fucking story. I ain't talked to that man since then. I not talked to that man since then. Fish tacos are disgusting. Sorry, not sorry. Y'all got it. So, okay, K2B2 remembers? Okay. Yeah. This was a while ago. But yeah, I left that nigga. He went inside. I put his luggage out on the curb, on the sidewalk. It's like, fuck this shit. Nigga, you ain't about shit. Yeah, and that was it.